Al, it is time for a gremlin to join the cast.
Yep.
We had to increase the ranks to 7. 7 of
Da-ba-bum.
9. And that's what we're going to do today here on episode number 5 of Jared and Al Watch Love Live. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
And we are here discussing season 1, episode number 5, entitled Nico Attacks. She's on the run. She's after you.
Wow.
We begin this episode as Kotori is like stretching, waiting for Honoka and Umi to show up, and we see someone peeking out and spying on her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Honoka shows up, and we see someone peeking out and spying on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Honoka and Kotori's like, I feel like someone's watching us. And Honoka's like, all right, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. She goes up to like that corner, and no one's there. She goes to turn around from it, and her ankle gets grabbed, and she falls into a push-up. She's like, oh. And then she gets up and gets flicked in the forehead.
Yep.
And then gets yelled at and said that like, hey, you're not doing good enough. You should disband your group.
We also had the moment of sneak.
Sneak. Metal Gear Nico strikes again.
Yee.
What a gremlin.
It's hilarious.
They go to school and everything to get out of school, and they're like, well, let's get ready for practice. Yay. Except it's raining. They're in the rainy season, so of course, since they practice on the roof, they can't practice while the rain's happening.
Hey, we hinted at this a few episodes ago.
We did.
Da-ba-bum.
So they have to figure out exactly what to do when it's raining.
But Jared, there was only a 60% chance of rain.
I love how Maki's like, I would figure it's going to rain if it's 60%. What are you talking about?
And Ren just like goes out there and gets soaked at one point.
It's like, oh God, what are you doing?
Yep. Poses in the rain.
Yeah.
So yeah, they gotta figure out what to do about that.
Mm-hmm.
So is this where they go to like the little fast food joint?
That is where they go to the fast food joint. They all get together, sit down, eat some fast food. This is a restaurant you will see occasionally in School Idol Festival. So they're like, hey, we need to figure out what we're gonna do and everything. We also gotta get enough members so we can form an official club and everything. And like Hanukkah says that, and everyone like looks at each other like, you need 5 members, right? And she's like, yeah, we need 5 members. And they're like, we have 6. And she's like, oh.
And we hear a gremlin from the other side yell out like something to the effect of like, how could you not know that?
She's dressed up also with like an ice cream on her head, like a scoop of ice cream and then like sunglasses and everything. So these little kids come by and are like, poop head.
And she's been eating Hanukkah's food.
Like Hanukkah's like has been eating fries and like realizes that
this whole time.
Oh, my fries are gone. And Umi's like, oh, you're eating so much you don't even realize you eat all your food now, huh? And then like Umi's fries go missing. And they're like, what's happening? And like they get up to go leave and everything. And like, oh yeah, we'll turn in that paper and everything. And then Hanukkah goes back to look at the table, and she sees just a hand coming out and grabbing the burger.
Yep.
And just like slowly pulling it back. And then Nico tries to leave and is like, you guys are not professional. You stink. Real stinky. And runs away. And then the kids are like, oh, the poop head's leaving. And they're like, who is this person?
Which
that yelling at us.
That is such gremlin behavior, though, to just sit on the other side and eat people's fries.
It's true.
I love it.
So they go to Ellie the next day and are like, hey, we have a club application form. We got enough members. And she's like, nah, just kidding. You can't form a club. We already have an idol club. Suck it, nerds.
Which, again, so artificial. Like, this irritated the heck out of me. It makes no sense. Like, if you can only have one club dedicated to one topic, like, you could only have like one music club. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
also the school's shutting down. Why? Who cares?
Right? Like, it's so dumb that they're just like, no, we have a school idol club already. You can't have another school idol club. Why don't you go talk to the president of that one and see what you can do? And it's like, what is the point of this?
So
Ugh.
the other club that is mentioned is the Idol Research Club, which only has one member. And Hanaka's like, wait, I thought you had to have 5 members to join. And they're like, that is true.
Just start it.
But once that happens, you can have a club, and if you're the only member, that club still is active technically. So it is what it is. So they're like, hey, if you can convince the president of the Idol Research Club to merge with your club, we will accept your club as an official club. So they go to the Idol Research Club, and who do they meet in front of the door?
Madam President.
Madam President Nico.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, how about we merge clubs and everything? It'd be real cool. And Nico's like, no, fuck off.
Then a chase scene occurs because Nico like locks herself in the room, and then
Yes.
they're like, we'll go through the window, and she's like,
Ren's like, I'll catch her. Yeah. So yeah, they eventually bring her back, and they're like, hey, let's merge clubs. And she's like, no,
you have this DVD
definitely
box
not.
set.
Yeah, Hanayo freaks out. Like, oh my god, you have the legendary Legend of School Idols box set. This is extremely rare. It sells out instantly whenever it goes online. It is very expensive.
And you have 2.
I cannot believe this. This is amazing. Oh my god.
And Nico's like, I technically have 3 because I have 1 at
3.
home, but it's sealed.
And then she's like, it's like, oh my god, can we watch this? And she's like, no, we're not gonna watch that. And she's like, oh no.
There's also a mention about a signature in the.
Yes, so there is a signature in the room that Nico has, and she sees Kotori looking at it, and she's like, "Oh, you were impressed by that?" And Kotori's like, "Oh, yeah, very impressed by this. That's, yeah." Anyways,
She's like, I haven't met her in person though.
So during this first initial meeting, like Nico kind of like runs them down. Is like, you guys don't really know the first things about being idols. Like you're just kind of winging it as you go. You haven't like made personas about yourselves or anything. You haven't made this like into entertainment or anything. You don't know what you're doing. And they're like, what do you mean by personas? And she's like, oh, let me show you a little thing or two about this. Nico. She goes into her whole spiel. And then they're like, oh, personas. Huh, I guess we haven't thought about that. But anyway, she still is like, I'm not merging with your club. Get the hell out of here.
Goodbye.
We're done talking. And Hanako's like, dang, I bet there's a way we can convince her somehow. They run into Nozomi, who basically like gives Nico's tragic backstory about how she used to be a school idol, but she was basically the one person who was like, I'm going to take this very seriously. I want to make sure we succeed in everything. But the other members of it were not really as into it as she was, so like they eventually just like fell by the wayside one after the other. It's very similar to like Leah's sub arc in the Sunshine movie.
Yeah.
Where she's the one who's like, I'm very serious about this, and everyone's just like, oh man, this is too much. I can't deal with this later. So that's basically what Nico's gone through, and I like how. I think out of everyone they've shown so far, like Nico's gotten the most like kind of like character development.
Yeah.
Or like at least character in general, because like they gave the backstory of her, like how like she takes this stuff very seriously. Like she is a huge fan of this stuff, so like she wants to be seen in that same vein as like an Arise or these other big school idols and everything. So like she's going to take this very seriously. Practice is going to be tough and everything because you put in the hard work. Eventually you'll see success and everything.
Right.
And of course, like at the same time, like not everyone's going to have that same mindset. Like they're going to see this as like a thing that's like, oh, this will be a fun thing to do with my friends. But then like you'll have someone like Nico come along and be like, no, we're doing this very seriously. And they're like, nah, we're good. I don't want to deal with this. So like Nico deals with this very early on in her high school career, and then basically just like alienates herself from everyone else. Is like, because like, well, I can't trust anyone else if they're just going to be like this. Like no one's going to have the same level of standards that I hold myself to. So like, why should I bother with anyone else? Why should I care about anyone else? Why should I give a shit if any of the other school idols pop up? Like they're going to not take this seriously like those other people did, and are just going to make a mockery of this thing that I love so dearly.
Right.
So why should I give a shit about them?
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of Leah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of the Muse learns about this and everything, so they basically hide in the club room the next day.
Yep.
When Nico shows up, they're like, "Oh, Madam President, welcome back. I have some tea for you." And Kotori's like, "I have got the budget for you for this year." And they're like, "Oh, what did you teach us about personas? What did you teach us about this? Do you want to watch this DVD box set?" And Nico's just like, "I don't know how to handle this. What is going on?" But eventually they are able to kind of like whittle Nico down and like are like, "Hey, what if you basically showed us like what we're doing wrong and help us improve in a way that would be up to your standards? We will listen to what you say. We will listen to any advice you give us because we know you're taking this seriously and we also want to take this seriously."
Be our idol sensei.
Yes. So Nico is like kind of impressed by that and also just like, okay, if I will give you guys basically, I'll try this out and see how this works. So like you see eventually later on, like at the end of the episode, Nico like leading practice on the rooftop where she's making them just do Nico knees constantly.
Yep.
And just like, just being a weirdo. But I think she's at the same time like slowly gaining respect for them in a way that she definitely didn't have to begin with. And
she's having fun.
She's having fun and also is interested to see like where these girls are going to go.
Yeah.
So there is that. Now we have a gremlin in the team.
Yay. I love gremlins.
I also think like, we've made this mention in the Sunshine podcast as well that Love Live and idol anime in general are sports anime.
Yes.
Very much so. Nico's arc is very sports anime.
Yep.
Like they just ripped that whole cloth from like any sports anime you come across. That's a sports anime's like character archetype and sub-story. 1000%. And here it is, well represented in another sports anime.
Yay. Love Live is a sports anime.
So there you go. Now we have the Nico ni. The world's #1 idol has joined Muse.
Nico ni.
So yeah, there's that. We have some trivia for once.
Oh.
Which is talking about a thing we did not talk about. We talked about there was some flashbacks of the second years as children, how they first met Umi. And they're like, "Oh, Umi was very shy and everything. And this is how we were able to get her to play with us and everything." Apparently, the park shown in Honoka's flashback about her childhood with Umi and Katori was based on Hodorin Park, which is located in Akihabara. And also there is apparently an error in Goof from the original TV run. When Ren strikes a pose under the rain, she was shown being soaked because the rain stops for a second and then it's like whoosh.
Yep.
In the next scene, Ren and Honoka was seen as being dry despite standing under the rainfall. As they entered the door halfway, they're shown being soaked.
Welp.
Gotta make up your mind.
Whoops.
We are nearly halfway through this season. But next time we will be discussing season 1 episode number 6 entitled "Who Will Be the Center?" Gotta find out who's the center of this new song gonna be. But yeah. So if you'd like more from us, go to seasonlanimecheckup.com or sec.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Anime Checkup, Season Anime Checkup OVA, and you can find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Anime Checkup. So join us next time as we figure out who the center's going to be.
Da-ba-bum.